You are watching Business Heroine TV for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. Join the Business Heroine community today at businessheroinemagazine.com. And now, tune into the show.
Hello and welcome. I'm Ann Perry, founder of Business Heroine Magazine, and I'm so excited for you to meet Morgana Rae. So Morgana is the international #1 best-selling author of her book Financial Alchemy, 12 Months of Magic and Manifestation. She's a sought-after teacher, speaker, and pioneer in personal development and is widely regarded to be the world's leading relationship with money coach. Morgana's groundbreaking program for creating wealth has featured her on ABC TV, PBS, NPR, CNN, Fox News Radio, United Press International, and the Wall Street Journal Online, and Business Heroine Magazine. She wrote the Life Magic column for a national women's magazine and was named a top woman in e-commerce by We magazine in 2012. Morgana's been a featured expert alongside people like Deepak Chopra, Marcia Weider, Bob Doyle, Loral Langemeier, Reverend Michael Beckwith, Vitale, Arielle Ford, and many others. Her books, recordings, magazine articles, and classes have impacted the lives of hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. Morgana writes, speaks, and coaches from a desire to empower idealistic entrepreneurs, coaches, and authors like us, the Business Heroine crew, and artists to have a big impact in the world and to really heal the rift between heart, spirit, and money. So Morgana, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
And I personally am a fan of Morgana. I have been following her for a while, and I had the privilege of seeing her speak in person. And one of the things that just completely captured me was this whole concept of falling in love with money and having money fall in love with you. So Morgana, will you share with us your story? Like, how did you enter the world of having money fall in love with you?
Not directly. I'm one of those people who I care about relationships and people and healing and spirituality. You know, that's where I love to play. That's where I love to live. So whenever I have a choice between people and money, which to me is an abstract concept and also does a lot of crap in the world, I always choose people. So not surprisingly, although it was a big surprise to me, I was not making money. And I had the Ivy League education and I had a bunch of fancy coaching certifications and I was really good at marketing and I had some amazing success stories and testimonials, and I was not making money. To be really specific, living in Los Angeles, which has just been voted the most unaffordable city in America, yay.
Wow.
And I was struggling. This was back in the beginning of 2003. I was struggling to make $100 a month. And it didn't make any sense to anybody. And while I'm not making money, I'm pouring money out on great coaches and great classes that magically didn't work for me. And, I'm also doing, the millionaire mindset thing and the vision boards and the affirmations and not succeeding at any of it. And it was excruciatingly painful and frightening and infuriating. And I ended up just a big ball of despair.
Yeah.
Especially after I took a class on overcoming sales objections. Like, oh my God, that'll be the answer. And I got really good at it because I'm a good student. And 7 people in a row, I overcame their objections and none of them showed up and 0 paid. And that was when I fell apart because I had run out of hope. Yeah. And I had tried everything and it looked like it was working for everybody else. So I felt like the biggest loser in the world. And at the same time, I really knew how good I was at helping people and it just seemed too cruel to live. And I really didn't want to live. It was, I take this work really seriously. I really think it's life and death because nothing like money cuts to the core of our self-worth and how we feel valued by others. And then if you dig deeper into just our feeling of being lovable and loved by life and ultimately our very right to exist.
Yeah.
And it's horrible, but if you don't have money, you don't get to live.
Yeah.
In this with, especially in the United States, with all of our healthcare mess and all that kind of stuff. So it was really frightening, really devastating.
Yeah, and when you say it was magically working for everybody else, like I totally know what you're talking about. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Oh, it hurt so god awful, terrible, and it was unfair. And it's funny, in 12-step programs they talk about hitting bottom. I think, like, I'm not that was my bottom. And when I was there, I remember being in my itty bitty little 1-bedroom apartment that's $1,300 in Los Angeles, and dragging the drapes closed in my bedroom and blacking it out and getting on my bed and lying down and screaming and crying until I just couldn't cry anymore. And I made a decision, which was a good decision for me. It doesn't have to be yours. But for me, I made a decision that money had to be my next area of spiritual growth. Because I'm so comfortable with spirituality and all that kind of stuff. And I also became really curious about what was going on inside of me that couldn't be with money, because really, truly, it didn't make sense. And, all those promises: get good grades, go to a good school, perform well, give a lot of value, learn how to market, learn how to sell. A's, I just really aced all of it and failed to actually get paid. And it was really, really, truly like I had superhuman powers to repel money even when people wanted to hire me. And it was in very, very soon after this super dark place of despair that everything cracked wide open and changed overnight, literally overnight. On my next coaching call, remember, not making any money, but still hiring a coach.
Yeah.
This great coach who I had been with for months, who could not figure out what was wrong, had an inspired moment and asked me the weirdest question. He asked me, because he knew that in my desperate chase to become worthy of making money and having people pay me, now I was chasing relationship coaching certifications. So I was getting all these skills too, which all come in handy later on. But at the time, but he used that, and he said to me, Morgana, if your money was a person, what would your money look like? And I suddenly saw exactly who my money would be based on the pain I was in that moment. I suddenly saw this big, scary, dirty, violent biker who terrified me. So all this time that I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, and I'm working so, so, so hard to make a living, as soon as I saw this guy, it all made sense, because I knew that he was dangerous, and I knew that I needed to keep maximum distance between the two of us, but that was not visible to me until I made him a person. What I was aware of was stuff like people would ask me how much I charged, and it would like set off like dynamos, this whole inner monologue or inner conflict about, I don't want to harm them. I'm afraid that taking their money will harm them. It's not spiritual. Jesus wouldn't do it. And I'm Jewish. And crazy, and because money was such a monster to me, but I didn't know it until I made it a person. And when I saw this biker, I knew there was no way I was ever going to be able to have money in my life if that was my money.
Right.
So this is the great thing about making money a person, is I've had relationships with people. No, really, I have. So I got rid of the biker. I actually broke up with him. Now, having coached thousands of people all over the planet, in Kazakhstan no less, I mean everywhere, every continent except Antarctica, those penguins are holding out on me.
They are.
But everywhere else.
Yeah.
I have learned certain things. For instance, now when I work with somebody, I encourage them to get rid of their monster, their negative relationship with money personified, much more dramatically. You know, like with lightsabers and flamethrowers, and one client ran over her monster with a monster truck. You want it gone.
Yeah.
Because that is the voice that tells you that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that has like a lawyer can argue every shameful, scary, disappointing, heartbreak, self-betrayal you've ever had your whole life, everything that's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And it's all relevant. It's so much deeper than just money. But okay, so I got rid of the monster.
Do you mind if I jump in real quick about the monster?
Oh, please.
So when you shared this concept, when I got to hear you speak, and you shared this concept, Katie, who works in Business Heroine, and I went and we were like, okay, let's do this process. So we made up our money monsters, and it was so interesting because it was a very vivid image. Very, like, this one, he had like an odor to him, and like it was like exactly you said, like, get this thing away from me. And I got rid of him in a very fun way. I even saw it. I was like on a pier. For some reason I was in Seattle. I don't live in Seattle, but I was on a pier, and I put him on a crane and swung him around like this and flung him into the ocean, and then sharks ate his body.
Woo! Beautiful. Love it. And by the way, brilliant you. Giving the monster a smell is one of the best things you can do, because for this to work, it can't be an intellectual exercise. That's why I don't even give a hoot about mindset. Because mindset goes to sleep as soon as you let your guard down. So I want a lot deeper. And smell is our most animal, primal, emotional sense. It's not logical, it's not intellectual, it's 100% feeling. So that odor is either repulsive or delectable. So brilliant you. Yay. Yay. When I hear stuff like that, I know you're on that you were on the right track.
Cool.
The whole point of the monster, and people love to skip the monster part, but it doesn't really work without the monster part, and that's how this is totally different.
Yeah. On
the front end from law of attraction and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I call this alchemy. Alchemy is the transmutation of leaden human experience into spiritual and material gold. So it's like a slingshot. And the more we go into the ickiness, the more momentum and leverage we have to inevitably and irrevocably hurdle ourselves into where we want to be. I want to create as much tension as possible by having the most horrible monster to motivate you to eradicate him so that he's gone. And then what's left is only good stuff. And we personify that too, because that makes it real and not just some great idea that doesn't do anything for real in your life. So the new person I call the money honey.
Love it.
And I've discovered my clients, really, truly, thousands of clients have proven to me that the most effective for life transformation and dollars or marks or francs or euro or rupia or wherever you are, the most effective personification of money is a romantic partner. I call it the money honey. There's something about being in love, and because I'm talking to women, I'll talk to women. There's something about when we are in love and loved. We light up like the goddess Aphrodite herself. And the planet has no resistance for a woman in love. I had a client years ago in her 70s, and after I coached her and she had her money honey, she was walking down the street and strange men were handing her flowers because we radiate that joy and that juiciness. And it's sexy to people. It's sexy to money. It's sexy to clients. We're happy. We feel so beautiful and so worthwhile. And it also makes money happy. Like the number one way you can repel money and drive a knife into his heart, or to my lesbian friends watching, her heart, is devalue yourself. It's think of how you feel when somebody you love is harming herself. It's so hard to be with. So it's the same thing with money. The more happy you are, the more you love yourself, the more loving you are, the more the wealth comes in. And for myself specifically, a day after I changed my relationship with money and I had my new money honey, 4 people hired me at double what I'd ever charged before. And they kept coming in and they kept coming in. And then in 6 months, I was like, oh my God, there are too many people. I can't keep track. I need a waiting list and groups. And now I can make $100,000 in a month instead of $100 in a month.
I love this whole concept of, like, it makes so much sense, actually, like when you're in love and how you're magnetic and you're glowing and you're walking down the street taller, and how could you not respond to that if you're a client, because success attracts success and love attracts love, and it's so brilliant. And so to do this, we create an imaginary lover. Is that right?
Yeah. In my experience, I used to say create, but what I found is if you really did your job in first digging up the pain, the root causes that cause you to repel and protect yourself from money, and they're always in the areas of worthiness, lovability, and safety. So anything that has ever made you feel unworthy, unlovable, or unsafe, that's where to look. Deep below the money story. And then you personify that as the money monster and get rid of it. And when you do that really well and the monster is really specific and you do it like you did it and it has a smell and it's eaten up by the sharks and all that kind of stuff, then what I found is that the money honey just sort of shows up. You just decide that it's time to meet him and where you want to meet him, and or her, because I want to get all, genders and preferences and sexualities included here. What I find is best is the money honey is its own person. So you don't have to sit there going, oh my God, is it Denzel Washington or Johnny Depp? You don't have to control it. Let the money honey come to you as if he's been there all along.
Yeah. That, I have to say, was a very fun process too. Maybe more fun, right? But in a different way. It was pretty fun to throw the monster to the sharks. But this money honey that appeared for me was not like somebody I would normally, wasn't my type, I guess.
Good.
He was like this guy who kind of was like a yacht with the sweater tied around his waist and like the like loafer shoes. But he was really hot. He was kind of looked like an Abercrombie model or something.
Did you feel loved?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Totally. And he, it was very cool. And then Katie, again, who, with Business Heroine, we would, for a while, we'd be like, oh, like, ask your money honey what he thinks we should charge about this or that. Like, we would ask him for advice, and it was very fun.
Excellent. Yeah. That's perfect. And I love it when people say, oh, he's not really my type, but he's really hot. He's like a sexy Yanni. That's my favorite,
That's awesome, a sexy Yanni. With the wind blowing and his shirt opens, and yeah. That's so great. So, and I just want to reflect back what you shared about the law of attraction too. It's like, it's not the law of attraction. It's like that slingshot momentum piece.
Yeah.
What are some, I guess, any mistakes that people need to be aware of when they're taking this new approach to having money fall in love with them, or anything to keep their eyes out for that can make this as effective as possible?
Totally. And it's not that I'm against the law of attraction. I'm so whatever works for you. But what I find in the law of attraction community is there's so much, it's almost fear-based, must think positive, no matter what's going on around, and it doesn't give you the opportunity to really embrace all your human experience and use it. Mm-hmm. So the first mistake is skipping over the money monster and just trying to get to the money honey first. It doesn't work that way. The bed is not big enough for the 3 of you. The money monster will cock block the money honey. So you have to take care of it first. The second mistake that people make is when they are confusing the money honey with cash. And a client of mine from years back wrote the most beautiful piece about how she has stopped referring to cash as money because her relationship with her honey is so sacred and sweet and sexy. Hers is a Scottish laird with the whole backstory. The numbers are separate, and it's totally counterintuitive, but the more the relationship is based on love and not based on numbers or cash, the better your financial results will be. As soon as you want your money honey to do it for you, or you're going, well, where is the cash or the car, the whatever, you're suddenly back in a money monster relationship where you don't have the power. You always have the power because you have the body. You have the body, so you have the power in the relationship, but you get to communicate with the money honey, and you get to ask great questions like, what do you want me to do? I'm feeling anxious. What do you want me to do so I can feel less anxious? What's my next step? What would make you happy? And you don't need to make your money happy so that he'll stay, because really, truly, nothing will make your money happier than you're loving yourself. But sometimes that's not easy. Sometimes it's easier to get a pedicure. So you get to negotiate with your money honey what action you're going to take that day, and you just want to feed the relationship. You don't want to just say, I love you, and be good to go for 20 years. That wouldn't work in my marriage, and it won't work with my money either.
Yeah, I love that. So great. So I know that you lead retreats, you take women to Bali, you do all sorts of, your business is so cool. It's very, very fun to watch, and I know the work that you do is so, so powerful. Like you shared at the beginning, it's not just cute, and it's not just even about, having money. It's like, having money is a very deep, deep thing. So I'm curious, how else, can our business heroines start on the journey of working with you or knowing more about what you do?
Well, to start, I create a beginner path for people who are new to my work or on a micro budget and just want to get a taste on your own. And so on my website at morganarae.com, the ideal place to start is at the top. You'll see this huge banner with a 4-part video series to opt in and just get a video every day and start with the money monster, then the money honey, and then a bunch of deep questions.
Awesome.
I also have hundreds of articles and videos on my blog. And I highly recommend, when you're ready to take the next step and invest in yourself, the best place to start is with my workbook, which went to #1 in 4 countries, including Germany, even though it's only in English. It's a self-coaching system that goes on for a year. And that I would say is the best value and the best way to start on your own.
That sounds awesome. And what I would love to invite the business heroines tuning in today to do is to share about your money monster and how you killed him off, and share about your money monster and how you killed him off, and your money honey and how hot he or she is, and maybe what they look like. Maybe, it's so crazy. When I invented mine, I don't even know where I came across it, but all of a sudden, I kind of saw him. It was like some model on like a website, and I was like, whoa. So I will be putting that on my Pinterest board. So,
Awesome.
So yeah, let's share our money monster murders and our, our money honey love relationships. And, Morgana, thank you so much for joining us. It's such a privilege to feature your beautiful face on the cover of our magazine, and I'm just in awe of what you do and super impressed and so happy that you do this work in the world because it's so important.
Thank you.
Yeah. And everyone tuning in, thanks so much for being here, and we will see you next time on Business Heroine TV. Bye, everybody.
You have been watching Business Heroine TV for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out what's new at businessheroinemagazine.com today.